I am about to start day 2 of Mile Pace Tracks. Yesterday, the tracks I used were Not the Fool, Reboots Remix by Mark Antonin, and the original version of Atlas by Mark Romboy and Seven Bazin. The second of which is only about 8 minutes and 16 seconds long, so I had to really push myself to finish that mile on time. And today I would like to go a little slower because my body is kind of still feeling like a little, um, I feel a little activated in my throat. And I'm not used to feeling that throughout the rest of the day after a workout. So I want to take it a little slower today. I picked some songs that are a lot closer to 9 minutes. And I'm going to see if I can slow myself down to take advantage of some of that time. But I'm also going to try to do 3 miles consecutively. So still get a really good workout that is going to kind of rapidly push me forward towards some cardiovascular health. So here are the songs that I picked. Blueprint by Dubway. So that's actually a pretty traditional workout song. Got some good energy there. The second one is Dark Sky. Oh my goodness, 7 years. I'm really surprised to learn how old this is. And then the third one is this remix of Fields Without Fences. I'm never dying. I'm never dying. All right, so I'll check back in with you guys when I finish the run and let you know if I managed to finish all 3 miles in time before the tracks ended. And remember, if you want to suggest a track, this is the pace that I'm at now, but hopefully over the next week or so, I will be dipping down a lot closer to 8 minutes. But just put the hashtag #MilePaceTracks. Yo guys, I did it. I just finished the 3rd mile. And, you know, having that Johnny Amkel track as the last one helped because it has a very soothing, like the lick of it is basically wah, so it's kind of like telling you slow down. So that was nice. So I learned a bunch of stuff. First thing I was thinking was I was kind of struggling a little. I was like, I might not be able to finish this whole project, this whole plan for today. So I was like, what happens if I miss? Like if I'm going for a goal like 8:10 or 8:20 and my body's telling me like, hey Mike, this might not be a good idea. Should I push myself to try to keep the streak alive, or should I forgive myself and say like, it's more important to keep my body happy? Because obviously that's a big concern for somebody my age. I'm 33 and haven't been working out enough in the past few years. So don't want to overdo it if that means that I'm gonna be either injured or just discouraged, or if I'm gonna just dread having to go through it. But at the same time, I don't want to forgive myself too easily for skipping out on what I said I was gonna do. So that's a cool dilemma. That's what I was thinking about first. Then I was looking at the watch to see how far I'd gone, and looking at the phone to see how much time had elapsed. And I was like, wow, this is some pretty complicated math for me to be doing while I'm exercising. And I really appreciated the opportunity to work out my brain in that way, because I think doing arithmetic is just so important. Doing mental math and arithmetic is so important. And dividing, so I was on a 9-minute pace essentially, but on the watch, the only distance that I could really make sense of was tenths of a mile. I mean, my watch reports hundredths of a mile, but I was basically thinking in terms of tenths. So I was like, okay, I've gone 4 tenths and I've elapsed 4 minutes out of 9. So I'm like 4/9 versus 4/10. So how many seconds is like 9/100ths of a minute? It's a pretty good little algorithm. And I was thankful for the opportunity to explore that while I was working out. I was thinking it would be cool to make an app that did some of that math and told you, okay, you're 25% through the song, but you're only 24% through your goal for the song. But then I realized that would take part of the fun out of it, so I would want to have the app give the runner options for different ways to view the data. I was thinking it would be cool to have a platform where people were using this exact application, where they were like, okay, I'm doing mile pace tracks, I'm gonna attempt to finish a mile under each one of these tracks. And it would be cool, like, rather than to do 9 minutes, 8:55, 8:55, it could be like, you could do 8:55, then 8:20, and then 8:55 again. It wouldn't have to be flat, but you could still have a sequence going throughout the day where people who were doing different paces could sync up at different times of the day, and they would be running in sync with other people around the world. And then I thought it'd be cool to allow new artists to donate tracks. If they wanted one of their new tracks to be featured for one of those daily sync up runs, then they could just donate it to all the people who had the app, and that would be kind of the exchange there. So then I went back to thinking about what would happen if I missed one of my goals, and would that make me feel like I had an excuse to miss all of my other goals, or would it ultimately give me a better chance to meet my goals because I learned more. And I realized that if you never miss one of your goals, you might not ever realize what you're capable of. It's interesting to try to push yourself until you miss. And particularly with running as an example, I think that's important, because running seems like it's mostly physical, but in a way it's mostly mental, especially at a pace like this. And so pushing your brain's ability to overlook the pain and overlook the laziness and find a way. And I was thinking about some other runners who are really, really gifted that I knew in high school, and how they would be able to look at that minute mark and they'd be like, oh, I'm 1 second off pace. They would know exactly what the breakdown of the minute meant. And that kind of led me to later on, one of the realizations was that it's really nice having the gestures in my devices. When I raise my wrist for the watch, it shows me how much of the mile is gone. And when I raise my phone, it shows me how much of the track is gone. So I didn't really have to touch any buttons except when I finished a mile early and had to push the skip button so that the next track would begin. And so that was really great, and I thought about how those interfaces were perfect for what I was doing, and the interfaces also give me a few other pieces of metadata, so I can start to kind of subconsciously train my brain to understand how those things fit in. I thought about how 2 of the visualizers that I showed in the other video showed the waveform. So as I'm listening to the song, part of my goal is, as a DJ, I want to learn exactly how these different parts of the song lay out in the 9 minutes. So by thinking about the waveform that I saw before I started the run, I can kind of deepen my ability to analyze that. And obviously SoundCloud had the waveform, Beatport had the waveform, but YouTube just had a piece of art. And the art doesn't give me any direct data about what the song is like, but it gives me a lot of indirect data. And I really want to learn more about how labels can use the art, and they can also use the names and language to indicate what the track is all about. So that is a summary of what I learned from this day, and I look forward to hearing the tracks that you suggest for me tomorrow, and talk to you then.